Let's talk about a South Asian serial killer who met a very satisfying end. Meet Bharat Galicharan, aka Akku Yadav. He was an Indian gangster, home invader, robber, kidnapper, serial killer, extortionist, and serial rapist. He grew up in the Kasturba Nagar slum outside Nagpur, Maharashtra. His earliest known crime was gang rape in 1991. He and his gang committed crimes for 13 years before he died. During his life, he murdered at least 3 people. He bribed the police by giving them money and buying them drinks in exchange for allowing him to commit his crimes. This resulted in the police not only refusing to stop Yadav, but supporting him for many years. He and his gang would intimidate and harass people to extort money, which was his main source of income. He and his associates would gang rape women and girls as young as 10 to warn those who resisted him. Although admitting to being a rape victim is taboo in India, many of Yadav's victims ended up reporting his crimes. Instead of arresting him, however, the police would tell Yadav who reported him. Several women were turned away by the police, being told, "You're a loose woman, that's why he raped you." One woman told the police she was gang raped, but the police responded by gang raping her themselves. As long as Yadav targeted the poor, the police wouldn't interfere. Yadav and his men went to the house of a woman named Ratna to demand money. They smashed her furniture and threatened to murder her family. A woman named Usha arrived afterward and told Ratna to go to the police. Ratna refused, so Usha went to the police to file the complaint herself. Yadav and 40 of his associates went to Usha's house and surrounded it. He carried a bottle of acid and told Usha that he wouldn't harm her if she withdrew the complaint. Usha barricaded the door and refused to surrender. Usha called the police, and although she was told they would come, they never did. Meanwhile, Yadav continued to bang on the door and threaten her. She turned on a cylinder of gas and grabbed a match, saying she would blow everyone up if they broke into her house. The gang smelled the gas and left Usha alone. The neighbors heard about what Usha did and felt empowered to go after Yadav. On August 6, 2004, they burned down Yadav's house. Yadav feared for his life and went to the police for protection. They arrested him to keep him safe. A bail hearing was scheduled for him on August 13, 2004 at Nagpur District Court. Word spread through the neighborhood that he would be released once everyone had calmed down. Hundreds of women marched from the slums to the courthouse carrying vegetable knives and chili powder. Yadav walked in confident and unrepentant. He saw a woman he had raped and mocked her, calling her a prostitute and saying he would rape her again. Police laughed. The woman began hitting Yadav over the head with her shoe, saying he would have to kill her or she would kill him. Yadav was then lynched by the mob of women. He was stabbed at least 70 times. The chili powder and stones were thrown in his face and the faces of the officers who protected him. The officers, overwhelmed and terrified, fled immediately. One of his victims also hacked off his eggplant. As he was being lynched, Yadav shouted, "Forgive me, I won't do it again." The women kept passing the knives around and stabbing him. Each woman agreed to stab him at least once. In 15 minutes, Yadav was dead. He was 32 years old. The mob continued to attack his corpse. Before his death, Yadav was arrested around 14 times. Have you heard of the most prolific serial killer in the world? Meet Thug Behram, the king of thugs who claimed the lives of over 900 people. He was a leader of the Thuggy cult active in Oudh in central India during the late 18th and early 19th century. The Guinness Book of World Records has him listed for killing 931 people. As a child, he was introverted. He befriended a notorious thug, Syed Amir Ali, who was 25 years older than him. Syed introduced Behram to the world of the Thuggy cult. Some sources say he began murdering people at the age of 10. Syed appointed him the leader of the Thuggy cult, and his group had nearly 200 members. As per the tradition of his group, they didn't target women, fakirs, Europeans, lepers, or musicians. Their targets were traders, tourists, and pilgrims. He and his gang would meet their targets and befriend them, only to kill them at night and loot them. Behram's weapon of choice was a pretty commonplace item. He used a special ceremonial handkerchief that his cult used as a garrote. The handkerchief had a coin sewn in the middle, which he would place exactly over his victim's Adam's apple. This added extra pressure to their throats. The members of the gang would communicate in a specific sign language called Romosi when they were around their victims. They would imitate the cries of jackals to warn other members about the arrival of their victims. Upon hearing the cries, Behram and his gang would arrive with their yellow handkerchiefs. They'd kill and loot their victims and throw their bodies into a nearby well. As his infamy spread to England, the British sent 5 investigation teams to Jalabpur. Behram and his gang killed all the investigators the British sent his way. The British sent a superintendent named William Henry Sleeman to investigate further. He used classic tactics against the group, providing some of them with immunity if they gave him the information he was looking for. Allegedly, in 1832, Sleeman was able to intimidate Behram's Day One Saeed into spilling the info he was looking for in order to protect his family. Behram was finally arrested around 1838. After his arrest, he revealed that he and his gang killed 931 people. He also said, quote, "I may have strangled with my own hands about 125 men, and I may have seen strangled 150 more." As for what happened to Behram, accounts differ. Some say he was hanged for his crimes in 1840. Others say he was released in exchange for his testimony and disappeared. Allegedly, no one has been able to find the gold, silver, and jewels he stole and buried. The location of his priceless loot remains a mystery. Have you heard of this South Asian serial killer who escaped from prison not once but twice? Psychoshunker, nicknamed Psychoshunker, was an Indian serial killer known for a notorious series of rapes and murders committed from 2008 to 2011. He started his career as a truck driver, which is how he would carry out many of his crimes. Psychoshunker first delved into the world of crime in 2008. As he was driving, he started targeting sex workers along the highways in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. He also targeted women in farmhouses in rural areas to carry out his heinous crimes. By August 2009, he raped and murdered 12 women and raped another 6 women. His first crime was reported on July 3, 2009, when he attempted to rape and murder 45-year-old P. Shamala. But it was his attack on 39-year-old police constable M.J. Amani on August 23 that caught the attention of authorities. J. Amani was stationed at the Gangayam all-women police station. She was on temporary duty during the visit of a deputy chief minister when Psychoshunker kidnapped her and raped her several times before killing her. The police recovered her body a month later and launched a manhunt. Psychoshunker was arrested and imprisoned. By this time, he was charged with 13 separate counts of rape and murder. While in custody, Psychoshunker revealed that he enjoyed torturing these women before killing them. On March 17, 2011, police took Psychoshunker to court in Dharampuri to stand trial. The next day, armed reserve police constables were assigned to escort him back, but on the way, Psychoshunker managed to escape at a Salem bus stand. Psychoshunker escaped to Karnataka, where he raped and murdered 6 women in Bellary over the next month. He also killed a man and a child in Dharampuri. On May 4, 2011, Psychoshunker reached Eligi village in Karnataka on a stolen motorcycle. He approached a woman named Chandrakala who was working alone in a field. He asked her for food and water, and then he tried to rape her, but she called out for help. Her husband and a friend came to her rescue. Psychoshunker tried to flee but was caught by her husband and the other villagers. He was taken to the police station and then handed to the Chitradurga police on May 5, 2011. After this arrest, Psychoshunker was sentenced to 27 years in prison. On August 31, 2013, the police took Psychoshunker to a court in Tumkur near Bangalore. After returning, he feigned uneasiness and was admitted to the hospital on the prison premises. He managed to secure a duplicate key and escaped on September 1, 2013, when the daily change of guards took place. He scaled a 30-foot wall and was able to escape because the electric fence wasn't working that night. He did fracture his foot on the way down. He was reportedly wearing a police uniform when he escaped. The police issued a red alert and an informant was able to get in touch with Psychoshunker. The informant lured him to a dilapidated building near Kudlu Gate in Bangalore with promise of a motorcycle to facilitate his escape. The police arrested him. He was sent to the central prison in Bangalore to begin his sentence. He was kept in a secure cell and all his treatments took place there. On February 25, 2018, he attempted another escape which failed. He was held in solitary confinement. On February 27th, he committed suicide by slitting his own throat with a shaving blade.